Hello to the two fans and welcome! This is Chicago Ted coming to you live with the grand finals of the Sudamerican Master Dota 2 tournament. And of course, I am being joined by Miss AnneeDroid and Dota on stats. One of them can talk, so let's hear from you. How you doing?
I'm doing really, really good. I'm really excited for this tournament. It's going to be definitely hardcore. These two teams have shown some crazy strategies throughout the tournament, and now it's a final head-to-head match, and we will see who wins.
Yep, and I'm looking at some of the polls going on right now. I put actually one out to the viewers, and we have a slight advantage going the way of paiN Gaming, though I do implore you, if you're over on the hitbox, to vote in that so we can get a good idea of what the general populace has to say. But it looks like paiN Gaming is so far the favorite, and I haven't checked out the Dota 2 Lounge odds there, but I can imagine they're pretty close because these two teams, I mean, they faced off last in the winners bracket finals, and it was split 2-1. So these are two very closely matched teams, and it should be one hell of a series.
Absolutely. I think there's going to be no shortage of action and team fights, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see who comes out on top.
Radiant's
Just quickly turn my Nepcraft off there so that we didn't have those little numbers in the top right of the screen. Tusk will be banned out first, with Clockwork being banned out second. That's for Union and paiN Gaming, respectively. Now, these are two very interesting bans. I've never really thought of them. Usually, we've got the Quap, the Leshrac, the Undying. Yeah, you're right. The
5 seconds.
Yeah, the Gyro, those kind of
Spirit.
heroes to be banned out first. Like Clockwork and Tusk, not so common nowadays, but they're very good initiating, sort of semi-core, semi-support heroes that can control team fights and just send units flying, so to speak. So being taken out first, a lot of hate shown towards them, and we'll see where these kind of drafts go. But leaving in those heroes that we mentioned begs the question: are they just going to be immediately picked up? As well, Leshrac will be taken out still, so there is still some reserve hate for the blue guy.
Yeah, I think what's important about banning Clockwork and Tusk is they're both really strong initiators, so both teams are a little bit scared of the other team having someone that can really go in and control a team fight right from second one. So trying to pick heroes that are maybe a little bit more calm and collected to make more stable drafts on both teams, that might be what's going on in their heads right now.
5 seconds.
Well, I hope calm and collected is anything but what we'll see. I want some pretty heavy action. We came off
still thinking back to that game yesterday with two rapiers. So.
For those who weren't around, yesterday we had the lower bracket semifinals. Two teams. Neither one is actually playing tonight. Unfortunately, it was Lucchini versus INTZ. And our first game of the best-of-3 series had a double rapier slugfest that went, greater than an hour or something like that. So
I think it was like 67 minutes, something like that.
It was crazy. A lot of action there, and I recommend if you didn't watch it live, go back and watch a VOD of it. But we got two completely different teams. Iowa will be banned out. Union versus paiN, the first pick of the matchup. Queen of paiN, yep.
I mean, she will be the queen of paiN Gaming on this team. If she can get a good start mid, she just needs to control that lane, and she will just snowball out of control. But Union Gaming are going to see what they can put up against her.
Yeah, and we saw it yesterday. We might see it again today. Queen of paiN being the first pick. There's quite a few things that you can try to draft up against this. Again, the Puck, the Templar Assassin, which, looking back, I'm pretty sure Union Gaming have a very good Templar player, but those kind of heroes that are generally thought to be soft mid-lane counters to the Queen of paiN, or if they want to run a mid-Lina, that works too. Just have a huge amount of burst damage to blow her up in a very short amount of time. But Lina in and of herself is a pretty aggressive and pretty hard-hitting hero that pretty squishy, can be taken down very quickly, but has a huge amount of burst to her name. And typically when you see things like Aghanim Scepters being picked up on either of these two heroes, and you're really worried to have these sort of hard carries to carry you in the late game, because they can be one-shot down to about half or three-quarters of their HP with just one burst damage spell.
Yeah, I think this might be a mid Lina. I think she's really, really strong in the mid, especially against a Queen of paiN, because Lina can outrange her, and very few heroes can. Lina can just kind of sit back. Her autos have an incredible range, and she can just Dragon Slave for last hit, so she doesn't really have to go up into the wave and risk being harassed by the Queen of paiN.
Yeah, and along with this, I think a general trend we've got going on right now, we've got a lot of very squishy heroes coming out. I mean, Shadow Fiend can tank up either with a mechanism or the BKB for fast pickups, but Skywrath Mage, he is absolute food if he doesn't get off the ground very early. And it becomes
Reserve
more of a
time.
liability if the enemy picks up things like BKBs or Lincoln Spheres, things that Skywrath doesn't have anything to deal with them. So they're going to have to be very careful. But one thing they do have going for them, pre-Aghanim Scepter, Ancient Seal plus Laguna Blade
Radiant's
is
ban.
one hell of a disastrous combo to go up against.
Yeah, that can get someone down way past half health probably so far on paiN Gaming, but they do have to be careful because, once they get those BKBs, what can Skywrath Mage do? He falls off
10
very
seconds
quickly
to
if
go.
paiN Gaming decide to go that Magic Immunity route.
5
And so
seconds.
far, they've got two heroes that pretty generally pick up that sort of magic immunity. Shadow Fiend, it almost
Dyer's
becomes
ban.
a rush item for him. After that initial kind of utility item he gets, BKB, you never see a Shadow Fiend without one.
Dyer's pick.
So it might be a problem. In Union Gaming, they just keep on adding to this
Radiant's
fire.
pick.
They're going with the Earthshaker, the Lina, all heroes that, by and large, will get countered by that BKB. And even Laguna Blade. Shadow Fiend is one of the better cores to deal with it because of the fact that he generally builds the Scotties, the mechanisms, things that will keep his HP pool very high despite getting all that burst damage done to him.
I do like the combination of Skywrath Mage and Earthshaker, though, because they are very, very strong at early roaming. They can go around,
10
at level 1 or
seconds
2
to
and
go.
get pickoffs for people that really aren't suspecting it on paiN Gaming. Earthshaker with his
5
Fissure,
seconds.
Skywrath Mage, if he decides to go for that Ancient Seal or even just the Q or the W, he can put out a lot of
Reserve
damage
time.
very quickly, and so far paiN Gaming haven't really picked up anyone that can tank it.
Again, the Shadow Fiend does do a better job at most, but you're absolutely right. Going through that whole combo is going to be a nightmare to be up against, and I'm kind of excited to see what paiN Gaming pick to deal with this, because right now they don't have any sort of typical support hero yet, so they've got two that they can possibly pick up. And they also, if they want to run something like a Queen of Pain offlane, or if they want to run a Shadow Fiend core, this is going to become a very interesting draft to watch flesh out, because there's so much flexibility with the heroes that they've picked up thus far that almost, I think they can really surprise me, and I think they can really surprise Union Gaming with these next couple of picks. And they're going to start out with the Witch
Dyer's
Doctor,
pick.
a very, very good hero at counter initiations, and he's going to make Skywrath's day a pretty bad living hell, because of the fact that Paralyzing Cask will, if it ever jumps to him, one Maledict and the Skywrath Mage is dead.
You know what I think would complement paiN Gaming's lineup really, really well?
What's that?
Offlane Tidehunter.
Offlane Tidehunter.
I think he can stand up pretty well in lane against, so far, anyone Union have picked, and
10 seconds to
he
go.
can, once he gets his level 6, that Ravage comboed with the Sonic Wave and the Witch Doctor
5
ultimate
seconds.
could be detrimental to anyone on Union Gaming.
That, you know what, that is a very good point. And when you bring up things like double refer, well, there
Radiant's
goes
pick.
everyone on the enemy team, but a double Ravage, something like that, if you can pick up a Refresher's Orb, which, I mean, might be a little greedy, but stacking Ancients is something that Witch Doctor excels at. Tide would be a fairly decent pick up here. Now, the Juggernaut, he's kind of a little bit of a stick in the spokes of that strategy. He's actually a very good hero for this paiN Gaming lineup as it stands, unless he
10
gets shut
seconds
down,
to
but that's a
go.
similar story with most other cores you could possibly pick up. But Juggernaut will
5
be able to make
seconds.
quick work of the Witch Doctor, and early Shadow Fiend he'll also bring down fairly quickly, and
Reserve time.
given a general look at things, he can carry pretty well into the late game, especially going up against a hero like a Shadow Fiend or a Queen of Pain, and he's being backed up by a pretty strong supporting Cask that will be able to find kills, given that they can get that one Fissure block off. That is a
10
very
seconds
dead
to go.
opponent.
Yeah, I really like Juggernaut as a safe lane farmer just because he has so
5
many
seconds.
strengths early, mid, and late game. I think early game, he can deal really, really well with ganks, just Blade Fury away and he's fine. Mid game, once he starts getting items, he just needs to farm, and then late game, he can come out of the jungle as a monster. So I think depending on how he's going to be playing, I think a passive farming Juggernaut might complement their lineup really well,
Radiant's
because he
ban.
can come online right when the Skywrath Mage starts to kind of fall off.
Right. So the Crystal Maiden pickup right now is a fairly interesting one that they've got. I really don't like how paiN Gaming are responding to these heroes with just more and more
10 seconds to go.
squish, for lack of a better word. Like, these guys, they need something that can either absorb damage
Dyer's
or
pick.
completely mitigate the enemy's effect on their lineup, and I can't really think of many heroes that will be able to do so in an incredibly effective manner. I mean, the Bristleback is banned out. Broodmother's also banned. They just got rid of Disruptor. Phantom Lancer was an interesting ban, and it may have been a good idea to pick up. I mean, I guess an Earthshaker kind of goes against that, but Undying is banned out. Nyx Assassin's gone. I mean, what are their
10
options so far?
seconds to go.
I mean, they just need someone beefy, and you
5
know I'm a fan
seconds.
of the Ogre Magi, so
Yes,
I'm kind
I
of
do.
rooting for that. But also, I'm really surprised that the Undying has made it to
Reserve
4th
time.
ban. Because he's such a priority pick in this patch, I thought he would have been snapped up by both teams after he made it through the first round of banning.
Well, I mean, not yet, I guess. Union Gaming, their last pick here. Where do you think we go for this? I mean, they've got...
I think they still need some absolute tank, someone that can just sit there and take
Yeah.
anything thrown at them. Maybe a Wraith King, because I think he does provide a lot of early game stability, and then into the late game he can transition to more of that damage dealer role. But it's really open. I don't think they've locked themselves into a certain strategy yet.
I
What's
think
with
a
all
Wraith
the
King would
scribbling?
require them to run some dual lanes. I don't think you want to put him solo, especially not versus a Crystal Maiden Witch Doctor. I think they're going to need some escape here, and they're going to go for the Magnus. So
Radiant's
I guess
big.
in the general gist of things, he can sit and tank a lot, but he has a huge amount of synergy right now with his entire team. Either the Empower on the Juggernaut, or just putting them all in one location, under one Light Strike Array, under one Mystic Flare, under one Echo Slam. This could be a wombo combo that ends all wombo combos, and I'm really worried now. paiN Gaming, again, they've got nothing to their
10
name. They're
seconds
all
to go.
bone, no meat. And
I think that Magnus was such a smart pick because paiN
5
Gaming are kind of
seconds.
looking to set up team fights in one clustered location with the Crystal Maiden ultimate, the Witch Doctor ultimate, and the Queen of Pain
Reserve
Sonic
time.
Wave. And now with the Magnus, they don't feel safe to do that because there is always a risk of a blink RP. Oh
Dyer's
no.
big.
Can I just say right now, I don't like that pick at all.
I agree with you 100%. I think that Gyrocopter really doesn't add any synergy to their draft, just kind of keeps playing into the do a lot of damage in one location, but it doesn't really counter Union in any way.
I mean, given perfect laning, I think paiN Gaming, if they can get away with, getting farm on all their colors and evading ganks, they have a very strong lineup. A couple of BKBs later, and they don't see a lot of trouble. But if these lanes break even or Union Gaming start getting ahead in the early game, this could end up being a very difficult game for paiN Gaming. So that's kind of where I set this to be. If things go well for paiN early on, then this could be
10
an easily
seconds
won
to
game
go.
for them. But given
They have
these
so many
lanes,
situational heroes, yeah.
yeah.
5 seconds.
I don't know. So it looks like we're going to be heading on into this game, waiting for a couple of people to pick their heroes. Of course, our ceremonial pause. Again, this is the grand final of the Sudamerican Master Dota 2 between paiN Gaming and Union Gaming. A lot of gaming here. A best of 5 to end all best of 5s. So far, neither team has an advantage. We're playing bare bones game number 1. How do you feel about this one? Polls say paiN Gaming 12-9. What about you?
I like Union. I just think, especially in this draft, they have a really calm, collected lineup. They have heroes that have different strengths at different times of the game, and they have a lot of openness depending on how the game starts to go. If they're getting ganked a lot, they have the option to start playing as 5 very quickly, versus if they're getting a lot of space, they can sit back, farm, and bring a really strong mid and late game. So I think they have a lot of possibility, whereas paiN's draft is more focused on who can snowball the quickest.
And they're going to really have to hope that they can snowball very quickly. Again, this Gyro, I mean, if they get a lot on him, if they can stack up camps, if they can make sure he gets farmed. Same thing with the Shadow Fiend, who I think they're going to run mid and throw the Queen of Pain off lane, or just try to do an aggro tri-lane. That actually might not be a terrible idea, judging by the fact that a Skywrath Mage, by and large, isn't your most defensive support, and if they run this one really aggressive, Queen of Pain and Witch Doctor can end up doing a whole lot, at least at level 1, maybe even level 2. They just start ripping apart other heroes with a crazy array of good spells, so it's going to be pretty difficult either way, at least for the first couple of levels, going up against that tri-lane. But I think the other lanes might not have as much trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think there is a lot of openness with both teams in terms of how they want to lane it. So neither team really gave away their play style for this game. And I think that's really important because, it's a best of 5 and maybe they're trying out some fun stuff, trying to see
All
if
right,
they can even
carry
play
on.
mind games with the other team. So they're not picking really traditional drafts with traditional laning heroes.
Right. All right, so while we're paused up right here, right now, we'll go ahead and take this time to introduce so we don't have to run into a little bit of action while we're calling out names. We'll start over with the cool, the collected, the disconnected Union Gaming. It's going to be Jerry on the Skywrath Mage with Schofield on the Magnus. Nightmare will be playing the Earthshaker, Citterall on the Lena, and Ben has the man, the myth, the legend on the Juggernaut.
Alright, on the side of paiN Gaming, we're going to have Baga on the Witch Doctor, King RD playing the Shadow Fiend, Vestius on the Support Crystal Maiden, 4DR on the Gyrocopter, and finally Tavo on the Queen of paiN.
And coming from a little bit of a background in the North American, South American scene, I do recognize a lot of these names, but I think for those who know, those who don't, I did take a bit of a hiatus, so some of these players are coming out straight out of the blue. Players like Vestivus or Jerry, Schofield, Baga. I'm excited to see them play in some of these pretty big name teams for South America, and you know, this should be, again, a very good matchup coming out from both of them. And I do want to give one more quick shout out, by the way, to our lovely statsman for the day. Cart Dota will be joining us for the first couple of games. As time goes on, I think we're going to switch up with another guy, but when that happens, it'll happen, and I'll let you guys know. But Cart Dota is joining us now, and he is dropping already some pretty decent tabs.
Thank you, Cart, because I'm so bad with stats.
I mean, I think we're beating this dead horse, but we can continue to ramble on about this one, but I think it'd be a better idea for this guy to just reconnect, and let's start, actually. I'm right on time.
Alright, looks like that might happen unless there are some more bugs crawling around in the Dota client today.
I don't doubt it right now. There's a lot going on right now. Again, if you're out of the loop, there are major updates in the works. Things are starting to go a little bit haywire with the networks, and yesterday was an absolute horror show as far as the network goes. Lag everywhere, slideshows. I think the Valve devs, they were presenting their game and they wanted it more in PowerPoint format.
Yeah, it was really hard to watch because we saw some team fights going down where there were like 1 or 2 frames per second. It was just really hard to watch, and I could imagine the players' frustration trying to time their abilities and figure out where to go when they can't even see themselves on the screen. So obviously it's no fun to fight like that, but this game might look a lot smoother, and there might be some action breaking out very, very soon.
8-man bungle in the jungle. It's going to be Ben Has meeting up with 4DR, but neither one, they're both holding their tongue. A little bit of a swipe onto 4DR. It just says go away right now. Jerry is up in front, but just like that, that's sort of the break in the action is they all just retreat. They don't want any part of this format, and they say, okay, well, there's guys down here. Let's go up and secure the top rune, at least get a 50-50 split, and don't let this Magnus cliff someone, which would be pretty funny if it happened, but I'd feel really bad for the person isolated.
He has started with some crazy regen. He has a salve and 8 tangos, so is he anticipating just being up in the wave and perhaps letting himself take a lot of damage in order to get that farm, or is that... I mean, I just don't know how crazy he's willing to play if he has so much regen.
This might be the mythical double rune here. Ben Has is right on top of it. He gets it. Wow, Union Gaming, they get both of them, and I don't know what the stat is on that. I know a very old one was something like a 60% win rate, but they gave up both, and the Magnus pick right now is paying off. He didn't even have to use any of that regen. I think a lot of it was picked up so that he could be a nuisance by the rune, but there was no contest for that.
Alright, and it looks like there's going to be a cute little block attempt here by the solo Queen of paiN, which I don't see a lot, because if she's gone on, she has very little escape without that blink if it's not leveled high enough. She does choose to get it first, but I just don't know if she's going to be as productive in lane as she would be if she had a support.
Yeah, and these silences are going to be very difficult for her, mostly because Jerry is a very good aggressive support, and when he does go against that solo laner that has the escape, if you silence, they're dead. I mean, we're talking Earthshaker and Juggernaut to back Skywrath up. This is a very tough lane for the Queen of paiN. But speaking of tough lanes,
and this might be some action, yeah. Nightmare's coming up into the river and might be going in with that Fissure. She is sitting very, very low. Does use a tango. She's going to take a lot of damage here. Blink comes out and she'll make it back under tower.
This is where you kind of want your level 2 on the Skywrath Mage, but you're all right just forcing her to pop that healing salve. Only one more tango left to her name, and a dissimilar story is on the bottom lane. Schofield only used 1 tango. He's got 7 left and a salve, And look at the massive amount of damage that he's doing to 40R. He's actually going to cancel that salve. 40R with only 2 tangos. Baga is trying to look to punish this, but I'm not quite sure what they can do. Schofield can probably just turn around and burst 40R in a couple of spells, and it looks like it's going to be actually a toe-to-toe between the Witch Doctor and Magnus. And this damage from Magnus, 57 already. He is chunking this Witch Doctor down. Got to be a little careful. 40R is coming in, has level 1 Rocket Barrage, but that doesn't do a whole ton, at least not until you get it a couple points up in it. So I think Schofield's going to be just all right down here. Speaking of all right.
Magnus was a great offlane pickup because, I mean, there's not much that Witch Doctor can do. He doesn't hit very hard at all, and his abilities hurt a little bit, but Magnus has the option to just get back and heal up.
Well, that Stout Shield is the reason for that. I mean, Witch Doctor does have a fairly good base damage, but one stun comes out, trying to do what he can, but we still have 5 tangos on this Magnus. Unfortunately for the other offlaner, hold on, Tavo might actually get a kill for this one. He's got the Shadow Strike on, a couple more hits, and it looks like, no, it will not kill, but it will bring him down to about 40 HP, 30 HP, and well, this might actually turn in favor of Union Gaming. Tavo, though, with another blink up, not going to spend it, can just run away from this one. So a lot of 2B First Bloods just not happening yet. Union Gaming getting away by the skin of their teeth there.
Is Jerry going to stay in lane for this? He's so low, and one blink hit from Queen of Pain could totally take him down.
He's got a tango. He's all right. I'm kind of interested to see what happened to his items. He's got 480 gold. Yep, they're going to go in. Maybe this is First Blood. It will be 40R. He gets pulled back, and a dire attempt to try to escape. But that will be the first kill of the game happening, and I thought it would be on the top lane. I will not lie.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly didn't see that Magnus going down. He had so much protection with that regen and that Stout Shield, but I guess once Gyrocopter's rage is unleashed, there's not much you can do except try to run away, and he didn't make it quite far enough back.
Yep, and now another stun coming out. This is a clarity. It will get canceled up, Baga. Maybe thinking he should have held on to his tongue a little bit more, but there is a level 1 Maledict, so one issue. Actually, he could end up dying here. He's going to get pulled back again. A Paralyzing Cask in 5 seconds, but they're not going to be able to use it yet, at least. And that will be Magnus living, but I guess I can see exactly what happened to him in the past that led to that First Blood going down. And I mean, I guess he seemed like he was being a little confident. I thought he definitely could be, but maybe it was some overconfidence in those plays, and he's definitely playing a little bit more careful now, but he can't be giving up kills like that. Not often.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of action in the top and bottom lane so far, but how do you think mid's going? It seems very, very passive for 2 heroes that are known for their early game aggression.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's 18 CS to 18 CS to 18 CS, though. One's getting it from the jungle. I think Lina, at least in the lane, is doing a little bit better. You can tell that that we needed a little bit of jungle to make up for it, but there's plenty of bursts to go either way, and if one of them missteps or one gank comes in, then you could easily see a death here in the mid lane, and I think neither one is totally safe. As far as defensive capabilities go, though, Lina might be in a little bit better position, as, hold on, she's going to have a regen rune. Dropped out a bunch of burst onto King RD. She had the Laguna Blade, and she's going to try to go for it here. She'll pop it. One last auto attack. She's going to go for the Slave. Brings him down. You saw we had an Earthshaker in the back lines. Nightmare was looking to try to secure that one, but he didn't need to be there. There was just a clean, steady, and brutal kill.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they need to do on this lineup for Union Gaming.
Wait, silence up top. Tavo! Fisher comes through and just cleans him. What a Fisher. That was actually a very long-range Fisher, too. He's kind of sitting in the jungle being a nuisance back here.
In a pretty sight right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's Union's gaming key to victory is playing with those really calm, collected ganks, not just throwing themselves into the action, but going in with a plan, with a pick-off in mind, getting it, and then retreating right away. And I think
Fisher
if they
block,
continue to do
King
that,
RD, he's just straight up dead here. He's trying to run, trying to hide, but he's got turn and fight. A couple raises, not going to be enough damage. That's only, what, level 3 raises up on him, too, and I'm not quite sure level 4 would have made a difference, but unfortunate. I think Nightmare is just having the game of his life right now, though, getting a bunch of Fisher blocks, being where he needs to be, and they know he's in this general area, but they've got no real way to get an exact position on him.
we do see a double damage Magnus in the mid lane, perhaps trying to be a little bit aggressive here, but he's sitting pretty far back and perhaps just doesn't want to show himself until the moment is right.
Yeah, I mean, a double damage, if he had Empower, he might be able to get a couple of creep camps, but It's not going to happen. And again, Nightmare with these Fissures finding the kills left and right. And we talked about the silence coming out from Jerry. It's really becoming a major issue for them. As hold on, Nightmare might find another kill here. He spots out Vestivus, who is level 3, so on par with him, and they'll both back up. Neither wants a piece of the other, but Nightmare is just hanging and aggressive. He wants to be there if a fight breaks out. He wants to even be the start of the fight, and very aggressive Observer Ward coming out from him.
Yeah, I mean, Nightmare he wants to fight, and he wants to fight now, and there's no reason he has to stop. Fisher's going to come out.
There he goes. They have a Laguna, and they'll just clean him up again. Citadel is doing a hell of a job here, but they're making good use of it. Nightmare, though, could be punished for this. Vestivus and Baga are there, but so is Citadel, protecting his buddy. And that will be the end of that. Neither support wants a piece of the fire. And they'll get out of the kitchen here, at least for now. But Ben has up on top, farming pretty well. So is 4DR here. And in the mid lane, it was even. I think the CS is still even, but the net worth will tell a different story as Citadel is topping the board with 3 kills to her name. A very, very well played Lina. And this is exactly what you draft the Lina to do. I mean, it was the same lines as the Queen of paiN, but one's mid, one isn't.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think Union Gaming have really showed that they know how to use their heroes. That Earthshaker has had so much game impact. It's 8 minutes in, and he's been responsible for at least 4 out of the 5 kills in the map so far.
Yeah, and I mean, what's his KDA right now, too? He's 1-0-3. He's literally been a part of all but 1 kill, and that was on the bottom lane Magnus. So he's been doing an incredible job and just keeping aggression, keeping everything where he needs to be. And not the bottom lane Magnus, but you get the idea. So
I think if Union Gaming continue to play like this, going for the pickoffs, getting what they need, and then, I mean, continuing to play collected, I think they're going to have no trouble taking this into the mid-game and late game.
Now here's an interesting thing. They've rotated Tavo into the mid to try to get some solo experience, and Shadow Fiend looks like he's taking a stab at in the jungle. I don't see any majorly stacked up camps for him, but he'll still try to go for it, make up a little bit of lost ground. He's got 4 points in Necro Mastery, so that means he needs those 36 souls to be useful at least. And Tavo, even though he's taking the mid lane, even though he has a blink, he's still playing this one so damn carefully because he knows that Nightmare could be there watching and waiting for him. But does he realize just how bad it could be happening? He might get fissured up here. Do they have anything for him? They'll fissure it, but can they chain it up? Not fast enough. Tavo will escape to the high ground, throw out the Shadow Strike. Nightmare on the run, but I don't see. Hold on, they've got the Sonic Wave. Tavo, he's not. Can he continue chasing for this one though? He needs a Scream of paiN, but here comes the Laguna, and he'll go down. Baga goes in with the paralyzing cast. They've also got the Frostbite, but in comes the concussive shot. Citadel continuing the chase. The Fisher stopping things for a short amount of time, but Citadel deciding low on mana, low on HP, does not want to give anything away, and he'll walk away from this one with a couple of extra kills and a nice chunk of change.
Nothing about dire structures right
Yeah,
now.
I mean, that's, again, what I was talking about with Union Gaming. They go in, they get their pick, and they don't lose anything in return. And if they keep doing that, I mean, it's just going to build up, and Union Gaming will be in a really, really nice position later on.
Yeah, Union Gaming are definitely playing this one exactly how they should have. And we go back to the draft, how we talked about it. This could not happen. If they let this happen, they are putting themselves, they're shooting themselves in the foot. paiN Gaming, and I mean, they already did it with the draft, but so far the lanes are just not working out at all. And either they go back to the drawing board or they continue going along this path. And I struggle to say that if they continue this way, I don't think they win this game.
I mean, I think it's a little bit early to call that, as we are still
right.
mostly in the laning phase. I think the only person on Union Gaming that isn't really getting a lot out of the map is this Magnus. He's forced to play really far back because the Gyro has that pretty nice harass range, but he's poor. He only has 10 last hits, and he has some shoes, and that's pretty much it. There's really nothing else that he's been able to do in the game. He hasn't been able to rotate in and fight with his team yet, so I don't know if that's putting his team at a loss, because Magnus is one of those heroes that when he's in a team fight, it can be great, but when he's not there, he's really not putting in a lot of work on the map. He can't split push that effectively. He can't really get a whole lot out of the lane he's in right now, so I don't know what their best option is to do with him at this point.
Got to smoke up. Maybe they find Citadel. This could be a good kill for them. They'll go in for a paralyzing cast. They've also got a Frostbite. Pop the Maledict, and they've got plenty of damage. He dies regardless now, but he'll throw out the Laguna Blade, tries to find a return kill, and will get it.
It was a
That's kind of a vengeance kill. The two sisters duking it out. Tavo, though, on the run. He's got a blink. No silence to lock him down, or at least it ends a little bit prematurely here. And he'll continue to try to run from this one, but 9 seconds, it's just so damn long. And he doesn't have the same capability that Lina does. He'll just go down, no return for him. Ends up being a 2-for-1, a very unclean kill happening in the top jungle.
Yeah, I mean, that poor Queen of paiN, there was really no way I saw her getting out of that, but she did force Union Gaming to use a bit of their resources. They used some of their spells, but it's not really anything major. They didn't force out any crazy ultimates, so I mean, paiN Gaming, they're just going into these fights and they're losing something without really getting a lot in return.
And their lineup, I mean, they've got the Crystal Maiden, the Witch Doctor. They're very defensive-oriented supports in their lane. They help their carry, but their ganking power isn't all that great. And you could see they were able to bring down the Lina, but they completely crumbled at any sort of counter initiation, and that's a big issue for them. If they can't smoke, they can't find pickoffs that they can take and say, okay, well we get ahead with this, then they're struggling. Like, I don't know though. It's gonna be a little bit of an attempt here. Jerry goes in with the silence. They immediately clean up 40R. They do not want to lose him. Citadel, though, is in an equal amount of trouble. One more Maledict proc, and or a couple more now as he bottles himself up. They can turn onto Jerry, and they'll go ahead and they'll frostbite him. How much more damage can they do, though? Baga finally gets the kill with a Maledict, but he might be a little bit too far in over his head as we got a couple of bursts coming out. It finally will be Jerry with an arcane bolt to seal the deal. And that's actually a killing spree on your Witch Doctor. That's a little interesting, but killing spree or not, he gets a good chunk of gold from that.
Witch Doctor's Maledict is so great because paiN Gaming aren't really reliant on crazy burst damage, so having that slow, steady tick from the Witch Doctor Maledict really forces paiN Gaming to be careful on going in because they can't immediately get out damage-free.
So right now, our losers of the lanes, 1,900 the gold on Schofield, 1,900 gold on the Vestivus, and that's total net worth. These guys are poor as poor comes, but the one main issue here is Queen of paiN is also very, very poor. And I mean, sitting on treads, she's actually got a quelling blade. That's a very interesting pickup for her quap here, but I mean, these heroes, they can't survive being poor. You kind of expect it from the Skywrath Mage, but not from a Queen of paiN, and not certainly from a Magnus.
Yeah, I mean, that Queen of paiN Quelling Blade is just screaming desperation. She was having so much trouble getting up to the wave, getting those effective last hits, so she just needed something to make sure she gets as much farm as possible out of the lane, but I mean, she's just struggling so much. This is not where she needs to be on the net worth chart if she wants to have any sort of impact later in the game.
So we did finish up that mech for King RD. Pretty standard stuff. I imagine that was on his mind the moment he saw like Lina, Juggernaut, Magnus, things like that. But benhaz will find his own tower. He gets this one solo, so it's a tower for a tower. And benhaz is looking really good on the net worth. He's 7K. One surprising thing is, not really that surprising, Shadow Fiend is catching up to him and actually staying within about 200 gold. And that's one hopeful glimmer that you can see from this game, but not so hopeful is the fact that 40R will die again. This time the benhaz finding that solo kill, a bit of rotation coming in. Looks like King RD wanted to make something happen off this, but won't, at least not yet. Echo Slam on the Vestivus, so clearing Crystal Maiden up very quickly. Citadel goes in with a Blink Dagger. We see a Requiem that just gets completely denied. And now, concussive shot. Tavo might be in a bit of an awkward situation. We'll throw out a Sonic Wave to secure the 10 HP onto Nightmare, and he gets away with this one. So, a 3-for-1 is what it ends up being. That Earthshaker kill, a Pyrrhic victory, but certainly necessary to make it seem like it's not the worst thing in the world.
I mean, that just hurts so much. Seeing the Queen of paiN waste her ultimate for a 10 HP Earthshaker, it feels so desperate to me. It feels like they're playing a little bit scattered. They just need to get something out of these fights, and they're not making really effective trades, and they're setting themselves up to have a much harder time in the late game, especially because Juggernaut has been free farming for 15 minutes of this 15-minute game so far. He has gotten every advantage he needs to out of this lane.
Oh, these bounces! Paralyzing Cast comes out and hits Schofield 3 times, bouncing between him and the Wildkins. Very unfortunate for the Magnus. He'll take a fall because of it, and paiN Gaming get a nice clean kill out of that one, but what a paralyzing Cask.
Are you seeing some PowerPoint Dota here? Is that just me?
Now I'm getting it too, but it
All
looks
right.
like it's clearing up pretty quickly. It just finished up for me, so I don't think we have too much to worry about for this game.
I mean, what do you think that paiN Gaming can do about this juggernaut? He's just letting himself get absolutely huge by, 17 minutes.
I think the main thing here is they want to try to let their Shadow Fiend get equally farmed, and it's sort of happening on a low degree, but his CS looking pretty good, his overall farm looking pretty good, but that BKB is still a little bit of a ways off, and until it comes out, he doesn't really fight. I mean, we saw what happened in that last fight. He tried to pop the Requiem, and the Laguna came out. So their response to this jug is the BKB from Shadow Fiend, able to get in the middle of the fight, drop a Requiem, and just right-click people down. But until that happens, I don't think paiN can take a full-on engagement.
Is Shadow Fiend going BKB? He has a staff of wizardry and not an ogre club.
If he goes Yules here, I don't think he has what it takes to go another 10 minutes in this game.
I agree totally. Just a little tidbit popped up by our little statsman Cart that Lena got her Blink Dagger at 13 minutes on top of all her other items, and that just shows how crazy far ahead she is at only this far in the game.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. She's 7-2 right now. So, of course, dying a couple of times is not what she wants to do, but hold on, we've got TP coming in. They know that he's coming in. He's actually going to get immediately RP. Mystic Flare, but he's still alive. This mech is doing work, but it has to get popped. It is down. He no longer has anything on it. An Echo Slam comes in behind the lines, and Nightmare will find a kill, but is he a little bit too far forward? Well, Survey says yes. King RD will bring him down, and now the turn. Ben he's looking for an Omni Slash. He finds his target, but it's going to be a Glimmer Cape finished by Baga. A very quick and needed item here, and Ben not able to find his kill. But he will find a DD, and perhaps maybe Roche, or perhaps not, I guess.
Yeah, I think based on Union's gaming style that I've seen so far, they got what they needed out of that fight. They got the Queen of paiN down. They had pretty minimal losses. Now they just want to get back and reset. They don't really want to force the issue, which I think is really, really smart with a draft that's very dependent on being the initiator.
Yep. And just right now, I mean, we're 6-14 at 19 minutes. We're going to take a quick look at some of the graphs here. I mean, 3,000 Union Gaming, 3,000 Union Gaming, both gold and experience. And I mean, we knew this was happening. We read the writing on the wall, but to see it put into numbers like that, it just, at 19 minutes, it doesn't seem like it's all that much.
I mean, the net difference doesn't really look that scary.
40R. He's doing a ring around the rosy. Ben has enough, cuts down a tree, but doesn't have enough to cut it all down. He actually TPs out of this one. Do they have any way to stop this? They do not, but that was
mid tower's coming apart.
that was certainly something.
A little cloudy. Oh, we are going to see a pause here coming out. There's a little bit of lag for... So what do you think the next step is for paiN? Because, well, the net worth charts might not make it look like they're, counted down and out. They're having a lot of trouble showing control and showing really coordinated team fights in this game. So what do you think they need to do? Like, what combos need to go off? Who do they need to catch out in order to show that they are still very much in this game?
Well, they need to get a BKB, number one. I think both Shadow Fiend and Gyrocopter need a BKB, but to be perfectly honest, Sanjin Yasha, that'll help him deal some damage in fights. He needs to not get hit by Laguna Blade, because if he does, Dragon Slave comes through and he's dead. That's the end of that. But we need a BKB, and we need a Roshan fight or something coming off of a pickoff. If they can get those three, they'll have a fairly good shot at taking this one game another 20 minutes and potentially winning it and the, quote, late game. But until then, I'm not sure they can fight at all.
Yeah, I mean, Shadow Fiend did go with that Yule Scepter, and I just don't know if that's going to give him enough utility. Like, yeah, it'll be nice to be able to get himself out of a fight if it goes wrong, but that means he can't be doing damage in that time, and he's so valuable for paiN Gaming because he's a big chunk of their damage output.
Yep, and a big chunk of their net worth as well. It's surprising to me that 40R is actually as high as he is, given that he did have a lot of pressure put onto him, but he's doing a good job at catching himself up in the jungle. unfortunately, again, I'm not quite sure how long he can sustain in fights. Granted, he's got no lifesteal, no magic immunity, nothing really except for some raw HP. And speaking of in a little bit of trouble, King RD, you're going to have an Omni Slash. He'll turn around and Yules. That'll save him for a little bit, but the Fissure block comes through. And with the Arch Seal, and I mean, they don't even use Omni Slash. They
don't even need to. Yeah, there was no danger of him not getting out of that fight. And like I said, the danger of a completely free-farming Juggernaut is that he can just absolutely eat anyone up that runs into him. He has so many offensive abilities now. Having that completed Mask of Madness and Sanjin Yasha by, under 20 minutes is a little bit nuts, and he's not going to stop growing. I don't see anything put in place to make sure that his farm is limited.
Yeah, and it gets very, very scary once he gets things like, either your Moon Shard or your Butterfly, some attack speed, some straight up damage. It just gets way too difficult to deal with, this guy. And I mean, it's going to be tough to bring him down, mostly because their through BKB disables are non-existent. So really it just comes down to, well, do we have enough to stay alive? Because that Omni Slash does come out. The Glimmer Cape helps, but a couple bits more damage. I mean, he's going to have an Aegis on top of it now, a couple points, couple levels higher after this kill. It's just very difficult to deal with a Juggernaut like this.
Yeah, I mean, this Juggernaut is bringing down Roche like he's butter. He just put up his healing board and took him down to, half health in 10 seconds. I mean, he hit so hard for a 20-minute Juggernaut, and I really don't see how paiN's going to get out of this.
And speaking of how he's going to get out of it, 40R might get caught in it, as an Omni Slash could be coming out here. He's just going to go ahead and lay into him. There is no Glimmer Cape, not close just yet. Now it comes in, and the Omni Slash not going to get used. Maybe now we'll see it. Goes in, 40R taking a lot of damage from this one. Now Vestavus, they both will take a fall here. Meanwhile, somewhere else, it's going to be Ciderol bringing down the Queen of paiN. It's actually going to be a GG. That's probably because of the lag here, but paiN, they tap out.
Carry on.
I mean, I think
Looks like
they're probably feeling frustrated by the lag, and maybe if this were a game 5, they'd play it out to the end, but it's a 5-game series. There's really no use in staying in. When you know you're tapped out, that's just going to get your morale down, and now we get to go into game 2 where, I mean, paiN Gaming really have to show what they got if they want to stay in this for what now has to be at least a 4-game series.
Yeah, and hey, you can look at it this way. That half-hour delay now is completely nullified. So we're going to be going into a game through 2 with a pretty good timing here. And, well, of course, you're listening to Chicago Ted, casting this one for you guys at TedCast on Twitter. You've also got Cart Dota, who is at Cart Dota, and now AnneeDroid. I believe you just got yourself a fancy Twitter.
I've had a Twitter for a while, but that is my first tweet I've ever tweeted, so yay.
Well, there you go. I retweeted that one, but you can catch it out at AnneeDroid. So take a look over to there, follow if you like, and we'll be back for game 2 very shortly. Stick around.